This showed up in my feed today, and not even an hour later, I was watching Adam Ragusea's Ask Adam #9, and this speech came up. It was so perfect I have to share.
So something I want to emphasize here, which is that it's like, although I have had workaholic tendencies in earlier phases of my life when, I didn't make as much money, right? I want to emphasize that it's like getting yourself into a position where like you are making a decent amount of money. There's certain things you start to realize. One being that people work more when work is more rewarding, and it's super annoying to me when Silicon Valley tech bros or like finance bros or be like, hey, I work 80 hours a week. You should be able to work more at the Duane Reade, which is a convenience store in New York City. So a finance bro would say Duane Reade. And it's just like, well, yeah, but the thing is that it's like when you're only making, $7.25 an hour, which remains the minimum wage in the United States, the federal minimum wage. It's the difference between 8 hours and 10 hours is just not that big. And there just isn't a lot of motivation to do that.
But an extra 2 hours at that job is painful.
Yeah, and an extra 2 hours of that job is painful, right? Like I worked at a convenience store for years in college, and it's like it's physically, literally painful just to stand for that long, let alone do everything else. You just want to sit down. And it's just like, well, I could grind out another $7 right now, or I could sit down, and you could freaking sit down, let alone, that's just like considering your feet, let alone like your kids who need to be picked up from school, right? So this notion that people have that like, yeah, everybody, I'm rich and I work tons, I work a lot of hours and that's why I'm so rich. Like that's bullshit, right? Like when you make a lot of money, you have motivation to work even more. When work is more rewarding, people want to work more. And I have certainly experienced that where I sit and I think, well, I could skip this or I could do this and I can have enough money to rebuild the fence that needs to be rebuilt over on that side of the property or something like that, and I just think that's been an interesting thing for me to come to understand on a tactile level.